full-time equivalents have gone down a bit. They're down by 34, but they will go up by year end. This is, however, I think the statutory reporting requirements, and if you are looking at the actual numbers, don't they show a quite different picture, that our contracted staff has gone down, that our temp staff has gone down, that probably the hours worked per employee has gone down, and casual staff. So I'm just wondering why we only report according to the statutory guidelines, which may not give an accurate picture of the fact that we actually have been finding some efficiencies, and the real number of staff, particularly contractors and temps, have been reduced reasonably significantly.
This is primarily because this is a mechanism on a quarterly basis to preempt the annual report when we get to it, and the annual report will require the statutory version. We could show, in addition to this, we could show those. We just have to make sure we're actually talking apples for apples each time. This basis is it's driven by the statute. It actually says how you will calculate those numbers. It is a snapshot point in time. It is on the 31st of December, how many people were there. The other one we can use, we can do the calculations on more of a case of including the as you mentioned, contracted staff has significantly reduced because we've stopped contracting arrangement and actually brought people into employment situation instead. So no, we could show some other numbers in here as well, but I'll just make sure to emphasise that any reporting externally through stock exchange releases, through annual reports, do have to show it in this form here.
Sure.
So as long as it's supplementary information, we could do that.
Yeah, that'd be useful, because I think in terms of the briefing given to us by the Chief Executive Officer during his performance review, he was demonstrating something quite different, particularly in terms of numbers and wage costs. Yes. So, people will go to this and say, I thought you said council was getting more efficient, and you're not actually showing that the number of contractors or temps coming in have been cut significantly. So I think we want to give our public a pretty full and accurate picture, and not just the narrowness of the statutory reporting. So if you could do that in future, I think that would be very welcome.
Yes.
By an appendix or something to the report.
Yep.
Councillor Casey with a very
I missed the question, sorry, about the call centres. You know this wee red graph on page 117? Could you just explain it for me? Because in my head, I think I understand what it says. It means that we're woefully inadequate. But can you just, for the councillors, just explain that? Red means that we're not meeting the target, does it?
Correct.
Well, look at them. I mean, councillors, look at this. Can you just explain those the last 4 quarters?
Yep. So I'll talk specifically to the Q4 and Q1. They were materially impacted by the bin rollout in the north and west and the change to rubbish collection dates, where we had 3 months specifically of unprecedented volume, people calling through both the contact centre, also email volume, and we weren't able to cope through additional resourcing or funding for additional resourcing to meet the requirement. So those have materially impacted those two quarters. Since then, we've had, since that rollout finished in July, we've had 6 months of month-by-month improvement in service level, and we're continuing to invest in efficiency so that we can continue to meet the increasing workload on a reducing budget.
So what does that last bar mean, the 50% one? What does that actually mean?
So that means that for the quarter, it means that 50% of people had their call answered within 20 seconds. What we actually achieved was 1:22.
On average?
On average. So, yeah, 50% of the people had their call answered in 20 seconds. And so the measure of a contact centre, the 80-20, which is our target, 80% in 20 seconds, is a very, very, very high level of service.
Well, yeah, but we put it there for a reason, because
yes.
that's what we'd like you to achieve. And if you can't achieve it because you haven't got enough staff, then we need to know about that. And so we're hearing about it right now. What do we do about that, Mr. Chairman?
Well, you've got a debate coming up over 3.5, 2.5 and 2.
Yep.
And that really strikes at the core of it.
Because there's been people around this table have been asking to reduce staff left, right and centre over the last 6 years.
Not in this
That
field.
was,
Oh, no, not
that
in
was
this
through
one.
the chair, thank you. Okay,
Yep,
okay, yep.
sorry,
Yeah,
yeah.
no, that's fine, keep going.
No, that's why, Chair. I mean, I look forward to the debate because over the last 6 years, that's exactly what we've been getting. And then when the proverbial hits the fan, guess who then gets the blame? Our people that then end up coming and speaking to us. So I look forward to the debate.
Very last thing, page 93, regulation 46. How are you going to licence or give an A rating to someone when it only lasts for 12 months if you're only going to do it every 2 years?
Sorry, I missed that question.
Well, if you look at that last, just at the end there, the frequency of inspections of low-risk premises to be decreased to less than annually, but it's an annual certificate you get. So I say that because I've got a food premise myself, and people come in and they look at A, B, C, and we've got A, but then they look at the date as well and say, how come you haven't got an up-to-date one? So how, and that's logical to do that, but how do you cover it by giving people an extended certificate? You don't need to answer that now, but I think that needs to be answered. Logistically, it doesn't seem... Councillor Collins.
Thanks, Chair. I found the page too that my notes were. I just had one last question, and this might be an offline answer as well. But I was just wondering, with the professional services that we get consultants on, do we have preferred suppliers? When I used to work when I was a public servant, we used to go through all these things where we got preferred suppliers, and I'm just interested to say for legal, for example, if there's a particular law firm that picks up a whole lot of our work, so we in a way are becoming an employer, but we call it consultancy costs. So I just thought I'd ask the question if we have particular groups, if you did a rundown on the percentage of the consultancy outgoing, if there were particular firms that were coming up a lot from the consultancy payments.
Through the chair, we don't have preferred suppliers as such. Quite often what we'll do is have panels in certain cases, such as design engineers. There'll be a panel, so it's almost like a pre-qualification process. You've actually gone out, sought expressions of interest. Various consultant firms have come into you and said, yep, we can meet the standard, here are our unit rates, and this is the quality. So we'll actually create then a panel, which means when you do want to procure those services, you can do it quite quickly because you've already pre-qualified for that group of panels. Other cases, it will depend on specialisation. That's quite a wide group, those consultants. Some will be very specialised knowledge in legal areas, and so there'll only be a few available anyway. So not preferred suppliers as such, but some cases going out to market, some cases using panels, some cases recognising there's only a few. And when it's a smaller dollar particular briefing you're looking for, you may be less demanding when you do go out to market, and only just maybe tag a few.
Thank you.
If I may, through the chair, just add to Kevin's response, over 80% of the contracts we have in place we now have on contracted rates, whereas previously, if we looked this time last year, we were probably less than 50% of contracts in place were on contracted rates. And what I mean by that is that, to Kevin's point where he said we have panels, and this exists across all our procurement categories, where we have negotiated very hard with the provider of those services to make sure we have specific set rates that are less than, usually more favourable than if you just went to them, say, on a casual basis that you would pay.
Great, thank you.
Right, I've moved this. Deputy Mayor Cashmore has seconded this. All those in favour?
Aye.
Those against? Thank you. Right, item 13. And we feel as though we've got two names that were willing to go on this, and we thought there was a third one. So Councillor Simpson and Councillor Collins were keen. Does anyone remember who the third one? It wasn't you, Councillor Newman, was it?
I've only just arrived.
No, we discussed this somewhere else.
A workshop.
Oh, it was Denise, that's right. It was.
Denise has said no, she doesn't want to be on.
I'm happy if put my name up.
It's in the morning at 9
Yep.
o'clock.
Oh, tomorrow morning.
Yes.
I've got another meeting at that time. So have I.
We've got member Taita as his name forward. People happy with that? Oh, sorry. Yep.
Through the chair, we're hoping to get 3 governing body members and 1 IMSB member.
One more left.
Ah,
Daniel has
Sorry, when are you meeting, Norman?
What we've done in the past is we've only met 3 times a year, and there's plenty of notice, so we do make sure that it's times at which the members can attend.
But the notice is 9 o'clock tomorrow.
No?
Haven't you got a meeting tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock?
No.
That's the engagement meeting.
Okay, so we'll add, we've added Councillor Newman, so people are happy with that?
Yes.
We have a mover for this. Councillor Filipino, thank you, and seconded by Councillor Simpson. All those in favour?
Aye.
Against? Thank you, folks. Right, we're racing along here now. We're on to item 17, the Forward Work Programme. Yep. And Sue will talk to this.
Thank you, Mr Chair. Through the Chair, this program is attached to this agenda largely for your information. It has been worked up with the Chair, Deputy Chair of this committee, and also the Deputy Mayor has had some input to this. This just is intended to give you a plan of work that shows a lot of the statutory obligations that we have. It shows all around the annual plan development, what reports you can expect to receive to monitor various aspects. You will most commonly have an acquisition and disposal report from Panuku each month. And then there is a list of other financial decisions, some of which you have seen the start of that today with respect to the ARAFA process. We've also given you a schedule of annual plan workshops. A number of those obviously have been already held. And then a proposed schedule of the activity leading up to the 2018 to 28 long-term plan. So it's really an information report for you. If there are questions, happy to take those.
Councillor Casey.
I thought at some stage we were looking at an ethical investment policy, but I keep losing it and I don't see it on the schedule of work.
What?
Ethical investments, what we put our money into.
Responsible investment.
Not just for us, but for the CCOs as well. And I do hear it coming up. Everybody tells me it's coming, but I can't see it anywhere. Is it hidden in there somewhere?
We have already had several reports, but there is a further report coming. This is the program of work of the standard things that you can expect. Obviously, there will be reports that come up from time to time as you request that are not sitting on this list, but I can assure you, Councillor Casey, that that particular area is being covered.
So when is that, sir?
Expecting to bring that back to the committee in March.
In March, and that will be a look at the ethical investment policy for this council.
Correct. If you recall, there are also a number of group policies that we are working on at the moment with respect to procurement, insurance, etc., that will also come to that committee.
Thank you.
So we are sincerely hoping Whitakers don't use palm oil. Well, that would be a dilemma for us.
I'm happy to eat the Whitakers.
Councillor Walker.
Sure. Does one of these categories cover off the funding for parks and reserves and under financial contributions, which is woeful?
Well, we're having a workshop on development contributions.
Won't that come under
9th of March?
And we're trying to send Councillor Denise Lee to Wellington to effect a change in that way. But good luck. I don't think it's going to happen, but anyway. Yeah, so I think it's in that workshop, Councillor Walker. All right, we have a move, and it's Member Typery, seconded by Councillor Collins. No further discussion. All those in favour? Aye. Okay, thank you. And then we have pro forma, effectively, item number 18. To note, I'm happy to move that, seconded by Councillor Simpson. No discussion. All those in favour? Aye. Thank you, folks. Thank you. I declare the meeting closed.